Hi there, it's Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com, here with just a little bit of an update video for the channel. I know I do these all the time and I just end up rambling a lot. Twitch tonight at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock Mountain Time, which is what I'm at. So 8 o'clock Pacific. Just want to address, so we'll be playing not quite Origins yet. I think Origins, even though cards won't be available, they'll switch over the format. I really want to try that Goblins deck. Everyone's been asking, play more games, play more games, play more games. I can't yet. Pile drivers are still not legal in Modern. So, anywho, we're going to try to do that Wednesday. I'm going to be going on vacation next week, so I'm going to try to get a ton of content out there. I know I've been slacking lately. I have a top 10 list still coming up from Cards to Brew from Origins. If we can get that out before Origins expires, that'll be good. Anyway, Rally the Ancestors competition is in its final stages. Go vote for it, RogueDeckBuilder.com. We have some other articles coming up by various writers. Go check those out and give them the love they deserve. A lot of them put a lot of work into these articles. Anywho, I want to talk about a very, 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 very important issue and kind of compare and contrast, and maybe, just maybe, this will get back to someone at Wizards of the Coast and aha, making them think that this is the way to go. Now, Wizards of the Coast reminds me of companies like Blockbuster. Anyone remember Blockbuster? Blockbuster was huge. One of the largest companies in America at some point, and completely cornered a market. If you were going to rent a movie, it was going to be through Blockbuster. They were on almost every corner. You could find a Blockbuster in any city. Even my small little town of Richfield had one, I believe. Anyway, there was a service called Netflix and just streaming videos in general that came in. Blockbuster refused to adjust and they went under. Like, there's no more Blockbuster. They're completely gone now, and Netflix is the new king. And Wizards of the Coast is reminding me a lot like those type of services that refuse to change and refuse to get with the times. Now, I'm specifically referring to MTGO. MTGO just had a change. You can go and look at my last video. I'll try to put a link in the description of where you can find the changes of how they're doing their new system. Now, a lot of people are like, this is better than the old system. Okay, well, I can see your arguments for this being better, but replacing a terrible system with a just slightly better, but still absolutely terrible system is not much of an improvement. I mean, it's almost like breaking your leg and then breaking your arm the next time. Like, oh, it's not as bad as my broken leg was. It's still bad. It's still a horrible system. And the system is they're switching over from tickets to points, which I think that points they should have done a long time ago, but they should absolutely make them tradable like tickets, because then it'd be a lot easier through privately selling cards. You can get, like, now instead of like going in dollar increments, you're going in 10-cent increments. 10 points is roughly the equivalent of a ticket. So I think that they should, you've earned them. You should have a way to actually spend them on stuff besides just entering events, because eventually, like, a good player is going to have such a surplus of player points, they're not going to know what to do with them. And literally, they won't be able to spend them. The only way they can really, quote-unquote, spend them is to draft and drop. And that actually isn't even that lucrative either. So anyway, let's look at points though. You eventually, if you have no player points, you're still gonna have to use tickets. So people getting in the deck are still gonna have to make this initial investment. And now drafts are gonna be a lot more expensive because they don't have as many booster packs going into the system. And so one of the things that MTGO was extremely cheap to do was draft. And it's actually going to affect the price of Standard and Modern as well, because there's going to be less cards opening in draft. And it's just going to be, the overall economy is just going to be slowed down a lot, because just more product out of the system is going to lead to less people being able to find the cards to build their decks, less people actually queuing up because they have incomplete decks, and it's going to be a bad system all around. And yeah, it's just, I don't understand the reasoning behind what they're doing with what we're calling the rake, or the tax on 2-mans and especially 8-mans. So a lot of people have done the math. I mean, we can just look at 2-mans because there is no booster packs going out. Each player puts in 20 player points, and Wizards only rewards 35 back. So 40 is going in, 35 is going out. Even for a casino, that is a pretty high rake. Usually the rake in casinos is around 5%. and like they cap it at a certain point so it doesn't, they're not taking too much of the pot away from the actual players. And I don't even think that there needs to be. Wizards is not a casino. They actually want to get away from looking like a casino. So let's just look at their competitors, and let's just bring back this Blockbuster analogy here. I would say that the first successful game that came out was called League of Legends that had this mentality. So League of Legends, they started in a game that said, okay, this is free to play, but we're only going to give you 6 characters or 8 characters or 10 characters at a time. We'll rotate them, and you can choose from that player pool. But if you want this other character, you're going to have to buy it. So League of Legends actually makes this money by people like, I want this character, I'm going to buy it. But what incentivizes just a lot of other players that don't want to spend money is you can eventually earn the ability to purchase those characters. So if you spend enough time grinding League of Legends, I mean, it'd be an obscene amount of time to buy all of it, but you can at least get the specific ones you want for free. You don't have to spend a dime on League of Legends. In fact, I played it, I don't know, I played it for maybe 8 hours. I don't know, a few games because I'm a Dota snob, so Dota is always going to take precedent over League of Legends. But I did have some friends at a time that wanted to play, and so I played with them, and I think that I did spend enough time to grind out Fiddlesticks. Like, that was the character I wanted to play. It just when it was free at one point, and I got kind of decent with it, and then when it rotated out of the player pool, I had enough points to actually buy it. So I contributed to the system by making more games fire. I was another player to the pool that eventually would lead to a player that would spend money. And, you know, maybe eventually, most games that aren't free to play, I've eventually spent money on. Dota, there's a good example. I've spent money on Dota. I bought into the 2014 International and into the 2015 International, which, by the way, if Wizards is worried about making profit, Dota just made over $16 million on its 2015 International, all through donations. Basically, what you're paying for is this little, I can't remember what they call it, but the 2015 emblem or whatever that allows you to earn points towards treasures. Like everything in Dota, I love Dota's platform because unlike League of Legends, Dota said, let's not do anything that affects the game. We want to have all of the characters available at any time for players. So if players want to spend money, it's just going to be on aesthetic stuff. It's going to be on just a different look for your character, like different look for your wards. Nothing actually affects the gameplay. Nothing at all that requires money affects the gameplay. You can pick up Dota and be at the exact same advantage. There would be no advantages other than experience. And the same can't kind of be said for League of Legends. League of Legends, there you earn runes and stuff eventually, and so you're not at the same level as an experienced player. So anywho, these games are very successful. League of Legends is by far the most successful game, 100% the most successful game, and yeah. So that isn't, so Wizards be like, well, that's a MOBA. That's not a collectible card game. It's not, you're comparing apples and oranges. Okay, let's compare apples and apples. Hearthstone, 100% free to play. Eventually you can grind out gold and dust to buy the cards you need to create what you need. I'm very unfamiliar with Hearthstone. I need to actually play it. People just told me that it's too simplistic. I just don't have time to get into another game. Eventually, I'm going to try out Hearthstone. It probably deserves me at least trying it out and seeing if I like it. I know a lot of people like Kibler are absolutely in love with it. But from what I understand is you don't actually have to pay for Hearthstone whatsoever. They incentivize you to play by giving you, points for playing. You can do the dailies every day to earn these things. And it is phenomenally popular. It is just, someone give me the statistics. Probably 100 times more popular. There's probably 100 times more players playing Hearthstone than there is MTGO, which is so sad because Magic is, in my opinion, such a superior game. The complexity of Magic, I don't see myself making the change over to Hearthstone, but it allows people to play. And one of the most annoying things is when you're in a modern 2-man queue, or even worse, a legacy or a vintage queue, and you could be on there for 10 minutes before someone queues up. That is unacceptable. Or certain queues not firing, like Vintage and Legacy and Pauper, because they just don't have enough players to do the 16-man tournament. So they can't even do a daily because they can't get 16 players to play. Yeah, that is unacceptable, Wizards. You can go down to certain stores and get 16 players to play Legacy and not have a pool of thousands of players. So they need to incentivize play. And I don't know why they need to have these steep costs. So they're increasing the cost of dailies double from 6 to 12. So you just have to pay in more and more and more and more cash to play this game and have less and less and less coming out, which again, the prices of booster packs are going to go up. The prices of cards are going to go up because it's going to be hard. There's going to be less in the market. And this is just going to affect less people getting into the game, which is an overall net bad. So even games like apps like Clash of Clans understand this. Clash of Clans, I believe, makes the most money. Like, it's obscene how much money, I'll have to look at the statistics again, that Clash of Clans, just a dumb little app game, generates. And it's 100% free to play, but it is more of a pay-to-play game, actually, because if you want to be competitive, you're going to have to spend money on gems. Otherwise, it takes just an obscene amount of time to upgrade a lot of your stuff. So, but a lot of people have been successful by not paying one dime into Clash of Clans. So it's gonna attract people that don't want to spend money, but eventually people are gonna spend money. All of these games have been so successful because they understand this. They understand how lucrative free-to-play games are and how often they lead to purchases and just a healthy gaming community. Now, Wizards might be like, I've heard the argument saying that, okay, if they had 20 going in, I'm actually saying that more player points should go out. Like, they should just have it a few games free per day, so you can play like 5 free 2-man queues per day, and maybe 1 8-man queue per day. You get like this ticket that refreshes itself every once in a while, just for being or maybe after buying a certain amount of booster packs, you just get, or playing in enough tournament practice games, or entering dailies, or having having these quests or achievements, like all of these things. Like, after you play 100 games, you get this achievement you get a free daily ticket or coin or something like that. All of these things, they need more people playing the game. And then you get these people to queue up with these janky decks and be like, oh, I'm losing all the time. They want to quit losing, so what are they going to do? They're going to purchase cards that had to come from people that have actually purchased booster packs. All of these things will lead to more purchases. Magic the Gathering, Wizards, where is your head? Quit being Blockbuster. Quit being all of these companies that have completely refused to change and went under. Your stubbornness to still act like a casino is gonna be the death of MTGO. This is not going forward. This is going backwards. This is digging in your heels and saying we are going to be a very pay-to-play company. We're going to try to strip as much profit as possible out of MTGO. You are losing out so much potential profit by dissuading so many people from joining the game. I probably lost a very good friend today that is going to sell his collection and just go to Paper Magic because he's not going to deal with this crap. And he's a huge brewer in the community. We're all going to miss him. I'm going to miss him. I mean, he'll still play Paper, but the ability for me to even test with him on MTGO will now be gone because he figured he could get out right now for $1,400 for his collection on it. That's how much this guy spent. I can actually pull up my report and how many booster packs I've won, how much money I've actually spent on MTGO. It is sickening how much the Rogue Deck Builder has spent on MTGO, and I continue to support this client, and I don't know how much longer I can do so. I have no choice. I am sponsored to play MTGO. I'm going to continue to play. Like, I know I am the worst problem. I am the absolute, like, everyone should be mad at me that wants MTGO to improve because I keep spending money at this awful platform. But it's something I need to do. I can't play in the tournament practice room because people just drop. The community is terrible. It's so toxic there, and I need people to actually spend money to play. And there you go. People are like, well, Kevin, that's going to hurt you if it's free to play. To a point, but people will want to earn. If you're giving points that can actually be spent towards something, people are going to want to actually queue up with decks that can win. They're not going to just like, oh, dude. You'll get those people that will play the fun combo decks. They're like, I don't care if I lose. It's just like the same that happens in the tournament practice. But there'll be some incentive to, and then again, I just think it's smart to put a cap on how many free games you can play per day, or you just have to grind them out in the tournament practice. And if you leave games early, they need to have like a little bit of a degeneration, like in In Dota, if you leave games early, you're put on a low priority queue, which absolutely is terrible, by the way. If you want to see the most toxic community ever, go to the low priority queue in Dota. You have to earn your way back into the regular games. You have to play 5 games in low priority, which is just, and everyone has to stay, and the game has to finish for it to count towards one of your five games to get back into the actually playing the regular Dota. So they could easily implement something like that, where a player, a report function, and yes, it would be a lot of work and be a lot of headache at first, and there would be a lot of people trying to exploit it, but eventually they could find out the right methodology to making games actually fun and people actually staying. And again, I think the solution is just having a few free games per day, and then people have to actually pay in if they want to play more of the non-free. And then the player points can stick around, have it so that you can buy promo cards with player points, have it so you can buy alternate playmat art for your side of the field. Why haven't they done that yet, Wizards? Why in the world? If you've seen how lucrative in paper Magic it is, there's whole companies. There's a company called inkplaymats.com that makes 100% of its living basically on playmats, custom playmats, because people take pride in being able to have, a custom playmat. Why in MTGO is that not a thing yet? It's just ridiculous. MTGO, you fail as a company. It is time for some massive, massive overhaul. Fire the people that are worthless. Bring in some people like don't bring me in. I'd probably be terrible because I'm lazy, but bring in people that have innovative ideas. I've just given you a number of things that I think would help solve the community in MTGO, and it needs complacency destroys companies. You need to be progressive throughout the time. MTGO's existed forever now, and our clans are still obsolete, leagues are still obsolete. You still can't host private tournaments, and there is no goal for those to happen. It's so crazy. Like in Dota, they have what's called stretch goals. So as much people donate, they give you a new stretch goal. Like they say, hey, if we hit 10 million, we promise you we'll do this. And I don't see why Wizards can't do that either. Like have stretch goals. I would donate towards stretch goals. If people say, hey, we need $5 million to implement leagues. And I mean, that's an obscene amount of money, but I'm sure that they'd be able to generate just because people want leagues. Or, hey, we'd want to do private clan tournaments. We need this amount of money to dedicate towards hiring some software developers to implement this on MTGO. Are you willing to donate? And this will go to that pool, and maybe you'll get some promos for donating and blah, 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 blah. Wizards, come on. You're terrible. You're terrible. I'm not going to sugarcoat this in any way. I have not seen another game fail as badly as MTGO. Just completely fail. Your game is phenomenal. Your structure, your corporate structure, the people you have that are working on this are just completely do not deserve their jobs at this point. They don't deserve their jobs. And no other company would hire them at this point. Could you imagine these people being in League of Legends or Hearthstone or Dota? Yeah, and then where they dig in and say, this is how it's going to be. We're not going to listen to the community. Yeah, that wouldn't happen in a company like Blizzard or Riot Games or Valve. It just would not happen. Anyway, I apologize for the rantiness. These videos need to happen, though. More people need to speak out against this and say, hey, I am a real community member. Again, let me publish. I'm going to have to publish how much money I've spent on MTGO. If Wizards should listen to any person, it should be a streamer or a YouTube person like me that is constantly playing on their platform, constantly spending money on their service. You can't find people that are greater than a person like me that spends more money. Anyway, we're almost up to 20 minutes. Let me know your comments. I'd love to see video responses. If people actually support this, I want to know your reasoning behind it. The reason behind the tax or the rake. The reasoning that you think that the Wizards is actually in the right direction. MTGO has seen some improvements. Like, it functions, it works, but it has a long ways to go to meet the needs of the community. And I'm hoping that Wizards will get its act together. I want to support you. I want you to take my money already. We want this. We want this to happen. Hire the people that have the capabilities, have the passion, have the talent to make it happen. Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com. Thanks for watching.